coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. You are now tuned in to the Sankofa Paradox with Ed D and Low Key on ATL Underground Radio.
ATL, what's happening? Happy Black History Month. Happy February if you in the February club. We got 3 February club babies in here today. Myself, Ed D, Mr. Low Key, and Dr. Funkenstein are all February babies. Sorry, DJ Neelock, you can't get down with the February club. But, much love to you anyway.
I don't want to be born in the month of July.
So, no negative Falcon stuff today. Of course, football season's over. But, yeah, that's only because, yeah.
Basketball season going.
But we can talk about the Hawks next week. But I was having a conversation with the good doctor, and we was talking about the Hall of Fame just real quick. I just want to put this out there. What do you think about Philip Rivers going to the Hall of Fame? Is he a Hall of Fame character? Is Eli Manning of Hall of Fame character?
Eli got to go to the Hall of Fame.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. The only reason I bring it up, check the tie, check the segue. Wait a minute. If you know anything about NFL football, when Philip Rivers and Eli Manning came into the league,
controversy.
Yeah, because
Eli said he wasn't going to San Diego.
Eli said he was not going to San Diego, so San Diego traded to get Philip Rivers. So if you could imagine what Philip Rivers would have been like in New York.
Did you see Eli's face when they called his name? San Diego selects Eli.
He was like,
all right.
Yeah. He was like,
he wasn't the first to do that because John Elway did it first.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to play for Baltimore.
Exactly. But if you could think about what Philip Rivers probably would have been like in New York, throwing to Odell Beckham, handing the ball off to Tiki Barber, handing the ball off to what was that other big time New York running back they had?
Tyrone Wheatley.
Yeah. Yep. Throwing the ball to what's the
Ron
dude?
Dane.
Yeah, and the dude with the ball on the helmet. What was his?
Tyree. David Tyree.
Throwing the ball to him with Philip Rivers' talents. Do you see him winning two or more Super Bowls,
at least one more ring?
But you got to remember, most Super Bowls were won by that Giants defense. Steve Spagnuolo and that defense. But Eli showed up.
Stir the pot.
But it's not. But see, that's the thing. Eli beat Tom Brady twice.
Yep.
Once is an accident. Twice, no. So my thing is, Eli has the numbers, and he has 2 Super Bowl rings. There's no other quarterback with 2 Super Bowl rings that's not in the Hall of Fame. And I think he was kind of also overshadowed by Big Brother.
So because of his 2 rings
and who he beat.
And
he had a pretty good career.
Okay.
Well, he was the better of the 2 brothers. In
Whoa,
the playoffs.
Stop, pause, don't.
In the playoffs.
No.
In the playoffs, he was the 2 brothers.
No.
The playoffs does not say
that's
you're
when you
better.
walk into a stupid brick.
Yeah, no.
Hold on. Think about it for a second. What was Peyton Manning's the complaint about him? When it comes to the playoffs, he trashed.
But he got 2 Super Bowl rings.
Well, first of all, he didn't get the second ring. It was given to him by his defense.
Okay,
and it don't matter.
It matters because he was carried.
5 of Tom Brady's rings were given to him by his defense.
How about that?
Well, I never said Tom Brady was the greatest.
Well,
I totally disagree with the people that say he's the greatest anyway.
I mean,
of his era, he is great.
No, he's not the greatest quarterback. He's the most winning quarterback.
Right. He's not better than Drew Brees.
He's not better than Drew. He's not better than Peyton. No. Tom Brady just had he had the Belichick factor. He won this year, but he won without Belichick. Dude, have you seen that Tampa Bay team?
Exactly. If he didn't win with that Tampa Bay team, then people will be saying, "Wow."
Now check. So you're saying your Super Bowl rings doesn't make you a better quarterback than somebody else necessarily that doesn't have any Super Bowl rings. Is that what we're saying?
Because Philip Rivers or none of them are better than Dan Marino.
Facts. But Dan Marino wasted his career, which is the reason why I'm so proud of Deshaun Watson. Dan Marino wasted his career in Miami. He should have left.
But wait, no, he had some talent in Miami. The issue with Miami was the fact that you couldn't beat them Giants. Yeah. You couldn't beat them Redskins. You couldn't beat them 49ers.
They had Duper. They had Parmalee.
To the other conference, then he wouldn't have met them in the Super Bowl.
He wouldn't have won the NFC. He wasn't going to beat the Giants. He wasn't going to beat the Redskins. Nor was he going to beat the...
I said go to a different conference.
Well, see, that's the thing I tried to tell him earlier was back during Dan Marino's time, you didn't do a whole lot of jumping around just to win. That was frowned upon. Yeah. Only in a new era of gimme. Gimme, show me the money, show me the money, show my money. Football as a pro athlete, do you have all these guys jumping around so they can win? In Dan Marino's era, you got drafted by that team. Who cares whether you like it or not? Get your behind out there, play ball.
Unless your name's John Elway.
Exactly.
and make the best of it.
I'll put it to you like this. Tom Brady is actually not better than Warren Moon.
No, definitely not.
But you're calling him the greatest football player or greatest of all time. He's the greatest winner of all time.
I think he's just of his era, of his
I don't
peak.
think
It ain't
he's
even
the
his era
greatest.
because you never looked at Tom Brady and said you the best quarterback of this era.
No,
you
like
did.
if you think about Randall Cunningham and think about Warren Moon and think about Steve McNair, he can't tie their shoes.
But he's won more than because of the coaching.
He has because he's had better teams. But this
Better
man
coaching,
was like,
not teams,
how
better
old
coaching.
was Moon? He was like 45, throwing
the thing
bombs
is-
that was
the
like
thing-
70 yards
This
deep.
is the thing with that. First of all, the Patriots did a lot of cheating.
Facts.
I know they did a lot of cheating. But at the end of the day, what Tom Brady showed this year is if you give him the talent. Now, first of all, I don't think he would have won that Super Bowl if Kansas City actually had their offensive line.
Well, no. First of
You
all,
missed
they
4 people off
wouldn't-
your offensive line.
It wouldn't have won the Super Bowl if they wasn't
No,
throwing them-
injury.
They wasn't throwing them bogus penalties on Kansas City either.
Wait now. All day long and twice on Sundays, any athlete will tell you, a football play, if you waiting on the refs to help you win a game, you screwing up.
Yeah,
you
but
can't do that.
I give you that.
You
But
got to play the game. You cannot bet on the refs to make the best calls in the outcome of your win.
But when you are playing against the
Saints
team
can tell you
and the
that.
ref, like for example, Tom Brady should have never got his first ring because was it the tuck rule? Like what you mean? They invented a rule on the field to help Tom Brady.
What do you mean? Explain that.
That game where the Raiders were supposed to win the game and they said, "Oh no, that wasn't a forward pass. He was tucking it." It's called the tuck rule. Where is that in the rule book? Yeah, it's not there yet, but it's gonna be there tomorrow.
Again, Robert Kraft is one of the most beloved owners in the NFL by the NFL owners. So the Patriots, you got to remember, they won during what time? 9/11.
Yeah.
So
the first one, yeah.
Right, and so it's like first of all, they should not have beat the Rams, and I don't think they did. But anytime you sit there, you record all their plays, because ain't no way in the world that defense was gonna stop the greatest show on turf.
Nope.
But they did. How? You knew the plays. You can see them lining up for the play. Like, wait a minute, they line up like they know the plays already.
But before that game even happened, what they did to the Raiders.
But that was foul.
That's what I'm talking about with the tuck rule. That's why I said, the rule is not in the rule book. It'll be there tomorrow, though. Like, no, tuck rule. Nah. So,
Tom Brady has gotten a lot of help. He's gotten a lot of
help.
And I mean, and again.
So does that give him an asterisk?
Yeah, he's not. Well, he's the greatest winner in football of all time. He's just not the best football player because Tom Brady's not better than Jim Brown.
He's not better than Deion Sanders, nor is he better than
he's not
LT.
better than any of these people. But again,
both LTs.
We know the name of the game. You know the name of the game. You got to have that great white hope.
Yep.
And that's the great white.
That's
But I'm
damn
telling
shame.
you, if Patrick Mahomes had his offensive line, I watched that game a couple of times. That man was doing some Superman-esque stuff.
He was
but
Harry
if
Houdini back there.
If he would have if his receivers would have caught it, the man
Yeah, they
was
had a
parallel to the
crap ton
ground,
of drop
front
passes.
flipping, and still threw the ball and then hit the wide receiver in the face.
Yeah,
I was like,
catch
just
that.
catch the ball.
So
bro.
what we saw was Tom Brady was not better. He wasn't even the best quarterback on the field.
No.
But again, he had the best team on the field that day. Why? Because Kansas City didn't have their own. And that's what everybody said the whole week. If Kansas City wins, this is going to be a miracle. Because they don't have their right tackle, their left guard, their center. Like, you got a bunch of free agents on your offensive line trying to block Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, I can see that being a task.
Barrett, Jean-Paul Pierre. Like, are you serious?
Him and them wanted to half a finger.
I mean, thank
Right.
you. In the club. Mr. Fireworks himself. So you have a makeshift offensive line trying to block that Shaquille Barrett?
Oh yeah.
People keep forgetting that man had 19 sacks last year.
Yeah.
And you're trying to block that without your left tackle,
With
your
back-
right tackle,
with
your
backups.
center, and your right guard.
With backups.
Who are pro bowlers.
It
Replacements.
reminded me of what I saw at a football game at Cross Keys High School when they was like hike, and then all of a sudden, 1 second later, the quarterback was running for his
But
life.
literally, Patrick Mahomes was like, ready, set, go. And he's running around the field. But the fact that he was able to complete one pass. I mean, he throwing shots down the field like he throwing across his body.
Yeah.
He diving and throwing the ball. He throwing the ball between his legs. I'm like, is this a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Nah, man, he was in cheat mode. He had a cheat code and everything.
He was
I mean,
definitely trying
they
to make it
wasn't catching
happen,
the ball.
but they were not. I counted at least 11 drop passes.
Man,
You are not going to win a Super Bowl with
But
that many
again,
drop
but
passes.
again, Tom Brady now has 7 championships, and they was doing the greatest of all time list, right? Now, naturally, he wasn't number 1. So, NFL.com put him number 1, and Max Kellerman is funny. He said, "Oh, have they lost their ever-loving mind?
Yeah.
How you gonna put this dude?" He said he wasn't even the best quarterback in his era.
Yeah.
He's just the best. He said he's the best winner. He said, but he's not even the greatest winner of all time. That's Bill Russell. Bill Russell won 11 championships in 13 years.
Oh, yeah.
And in 3 of those, he was the coach and the player. So I'm like, no, I mean, you gotta look at the dynamics of the time frame.
I'm about to say, if you want to go to players, and if we going through all leagues,
Yeah.
listen,
Michael Jordan is always
the
gonna be
guy
number
who
1.
I hate with a passion. I will spit on his name. I happen to share a birthday with this dude, and I hate him with every fiber of my being. But Michael Jordan, I have to give him.
You mean your fellow New
respect.
Yorker?
Yes.
People keep forgetting he's born in
Brooklyn, and he blasphemy.
But
the way he tortured his home city.
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
Yeah, he was putting nuts in face the whole
Yes.
time he was playing New York.
Yes.
But
Yes.
again, Michael Jeffrey Jordan will be the greatest athlete of all time.
Yes.
And that's not just on the court, but influential wise. I mean, the man came out with Space Jam. Everybody went to go to a movie to see a cartoon-esque with
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean,
But hold on. The only other player that can compete with him, in my personal opinion, was the original Merc, the original pay to play, Deion Sanders.
That's incorrect.
Deion Sanders, no. Deion Sanders was the only player that can control every phase of the football game: punting, kick return,
Point.
defense, and offense.
He almost made me
brother,
say
brother,
it.
brother,
not
brother.
punting, but
Stop,
kick return.
stop.
Brother.
Stop.
First of all,
Not even close.
First of all,
Not even
You
close.
can't put him above Muhammad Ali.
No.
You can't put him above. First of all, you
I
can't
keep
put him above
Muhammad
Serena
Ali.
Williams. These are people. Yes, Serena. Yes,
We're talking about
I don't
huge
know about
influences
that now.
on their sport and the world.
like
Well, we're not talking about the. If you talking about the, if you talking
can't
about the
put
world,
them-
what did Michael Jordan do for the world?
what? If you go to China right now, they said they're trying to make some Jordans in their factory.
That's monetarily wise for specific companies. That's
No.
not,
You
that's
gotta
not
understand.
humanitarily helping the world.
Well, we're
Muhammad Ali
not necessarily.
humanitarily
We're
helped
not
the
necessarily
world.
was saying next. Okay, you talking about? We just put up a premise of greatest of all time, which means you want influence in your sport, you want influence in the community, you want influence in your country, and yes, you are influence abroad. Deion Sanders only checked maybe 2 of those boxes. He was an influence in his sport, and he was an influence slightly in the community. Nothing
he also-
national, and definitely nothing international.
Well, no, because he did make some noise on the baseball level now.
No, that wasn't. That was national. That was national. That wasn't international. Again, you
Ain't
got.
nobody over in China talking about a Tula
I didn't
Jutta.
say international. I said on the baseball level.
Okay,
We're
but
talking
again,
about
okay, so
Major League
Deion's the only
Baseball.
person to
I'm
ever
not
play in the
talking
World
about
Series and the Super Bowl. But again, you still got Bill Russell.
Oh,
You
yeah.
still got Muhammad Ali. You still got Serena Williams. You got Tiger Woods. You got a whole lot of other people that goes way before Deion.
Well, I mean,
When they talk greatest of all time on the football field, they don't say
off-
Deion.
Would you necessary? Well, they should. That was an argument.
No, you got
The
Jim
argument-
Brown.
Hold up. The argument was between Jim Brown, Deion Sanders, and LT. Those are the 3.
No.
That was the argument, and all 3 have legitimate claims because
You mean like Walter
Deion's-
Payton? You mean like Jerry Rice?
But Jerry Rice only affected the offense. Deion Sanders defense, Deion Sanders offense, and Deion Sanders.
He
in
wasn't
punt
affecting
return.
offense like that, brother. He was affecting special teams, not offense.
No. He also played wide receiver too.
Okay,
There were several games
He might
played wide
have got he
receiver.
might have got to wide receiver once every blue moon, but offense and special teams is what Deion Sanders affected. If you want to talk about offense, you talk about and I mean somebody who affected a man really offense of the game. You got to be talking about William the Refrigerator Perry.
Well, okay, I give you that.
Okay, so at the end of the day, again,
But-
at the end of the day,
but he
when they say
played-
greatest, he's not even the greatest football defender of all time. That's LT. He's not the greatest defender. He's not the greatest offensive player of all time. That would be Jim Brown,
first of
Walter
all-
Payton, somebody else.
First of all, that was the argument.
Barry
You know what I'm saying?
Sanders?
As far as him and LT, you know what I'm saying? And
And
you know which LT we talking
no,
about.
because technically, if
We're
you
not
want to
talking
talk
about
about
LaDainian Tomlinson.
if you want to talk about defensive back, you want to talk about Dick Night Train Lane. You're gonna talk about Ronnie Lott. You're gonna talk.
Deacon Jones.
I mean, like you gonna talk about.
I would argue that he.
Deion was the greatest athlete ever on the field. But he was not the greatest player on the field.
Well,
And he would tell you that.
Well, I understand that. That's why I said he was in that conversation.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. I'm telling you, I watched the debate. He was in the conversation. It was Max Kellerman, Stephen A, and what's his name that played for the Steelers?
Terry Bradshaw?
No, they always be on First Take with them boys.
Starworth?
Clark?
Clark, yes.
Ryan Clark.
Yeah.
Again, Deion Sanders is not even in the conversation for the greatest football player of all time. Not much the GOAT. So, at the end of the day, I understand what you're saying. He did affect the game, but no. Because I guarantee you, if he was on that field with Dick Knight Train Lane, he'd have figured out that he didn't like football no more.
Well, I'm not going to argue with that, but when he went and lined up on the wide receiver side, all the defense shifted.
Because he's fast.
Yes.
He's one of the fastest ever.
Changing the game.
So, Bullet Bob Hayes was fast, too. Eddie Kennison was fast. You know who Eddie Kennison is?
I'm not arguing that.
You know who Eddie Kennison is? Tavon Austin was fast. You know who that is?
Listen,
What about that dude from Notre Dame, Rocket? Now that was
Ishmael?
Ishmael.
Yeah, Rocket? Oh, yeah.
That dude.
Rahim Ishmael? Oh, yeah.
That dude would dodge. If he dodged 3 people on a punt or a kickoff, it was over. If you look at any of his run back, he dodged that third person, touchdown.
Rahim Ishmael.
Yeah.
The Rocket.
That son of a gun was like lightning. But anyway, folks.
Deion had the persona. He had the Jerry curl.
Oh, my God.
If you want to be real, he put Atlanta on the map.
He did. I give him
that. Like he carried that whole team by himself.
No, he didn't carry by himself because he had Steve Bartowski in them, but he did.
Well, he had Andre Rison too.
But again, he gave them a persona.
And
then he left.
He gave. I think he left because of tensions. Because anytime a brother in a professional sports team, anytime a brother, just like with Dominique Wilkins, when they started referring to the Hawks as Dominique's Hawks, they got rid of Dominique. It was one of the dumbest things the Hawks ever done.
You know what was dumber than that?
But he also got hurt.
I got something that was dumber than that. You ready? When the Knicks had the opportunity to put both of them on the squad and they didn't do it. Okay, but go ahead. I digress.
Wait, when the Knicks had the opportunity to put who on the squad?
Put both Wilkins on the squad.
Oh, well,
Dominique and Gerald.
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing with that is this.
That would have been great.
This is the thing. No, this is the thing. That was after Dominique tore his Achilles. Dominique wasn't explosive anymore with that torn Achilles, so he couldn't jump off like he did.
He didn't need to with the squad,
he did.
with his brother right there. He didn't need to.
No, that was most of Dominique's game. That explosiveness was his game.
Yeah, when he would do that double foot, that double drop step. I mean, it was spring loaded, and when that thing went off, he would jump over the whole daggone team. Just, I'm going to dunk this. I don't think any of y'all should move right now because I'm going to slam the hell out of this ball. And,
right. And after that, it was no longer a jump. It was more like a skip. So, so Dominique at that juncture, because he wasn't a great shooter like that either.
No, he wasn't.
So with that being the case, he lost a lot of his games. So it wouldn't. With Patrick Ewing in the post and John Starks and the X-Men and Oakland and all them around there was really no fit for Dominique at that time with New York. So
he probably could have come off the bench and been. He probably could have been
that pride though. That pride.
But the thing about it is, they would have had both brothers. That could have been the one linchpin that would have maybe gave us a fraction of an edge against Georgia.
He gonna ride for them Knicks.
Wait.
He gonna ride.
You were never going to get a fraction of anything.
Listen.
I don't care who you add.
It was one person. Wilkins had a good defensive play.
He had some defense.
He had some defense, and then George scored 38 on him. Go ahead.
Listen. All I wait there was those games between the Knicks and the Bulls. We would lose by 2 points, 3 points. So
y'all played a tough game. You did.
You know what I'm saying? All we needed was like a little bit. Just snatch away 3 of them points.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you. Hindsight's 2020. You lost. So
let's go ahead and put forward a page on the sports. We'll come back to it next week. But, we got to get on with the chicken and the beer.
Chicken and brew episode.
So the brother Low Key is going to hit you on to what the chicken and brew is going to be about.
All right. So today's chicken and brew episode is based upon just truly talking about whatever we feel like talking about. But we still have a topic. But it's our chance to chill, celebrate the birthdays of the month. We're going to do the Chicken and Brew episode twice a year, and it's our first one. And it's a chance for people to call in, talk to us, let us know how they feel about certain things, talk to us about the topic, whatever's going on, let us know. We're not going to have a bunch of set history and things of this nature with this topic. We're just going to let you all let it flow. That's what we're going to do. And today's topic is toxic masculinity versus toxic femininity. Now, naturally, we're going to have some young ladies call in because we're not feminine at all. There's no feminine bone in our bodies.
None.
So we're going to have the young ladies call in and let us know, what they believe or what the dynamic of toxic femininity is to them. Because we only got the dynamics of what we think from a whole different perspective on the side of that scale. Because I think we all know what we feel is toxic femininity, but we can't say it for sure because a female has to tell us what that is. We know what toxic masculinity is because, some of us going to exude that in our behavior. Just like all females exude some type of toxic femininity in their behavior. This is what happens. But you got to also check it some out the door to find some type of compromise, especially if you plan on being married one day or having a long-lasting, successful relationship. So,
well, I'll hit on this topic first, and the thing with me is with the toxic masculinity. In my mind says it's just a term that's been thrown up for people who want to accommodate. I'll say just want to accommodate soft ass dudes, and how they do that is they keep real dudes from getting their hands to them or they get their hands on them, not a negative way, but and to trying to toughen up an otherwise soft behind dude, like to a degree. There's the classic example of toxic masculinity is that men don't cry. But you have to understand what a young man is being taught when he gets that. Because if you're getting that properly, hey, little boys don't do all that crying. At that point in a young man's growth, you can't just be sitting there in a situation sniveling, bawling, crying, about a situation. Because that's not what little boys do. No, you get up, you brush it off, go play. And get up, dust it off, get back to what you were doing.
And it's not we're saying that you don't cry. What we're saying is you don't use it as a crutch.
Yeah, you got to stay in control.
You're teaching them how to get over something without dwelling on it.
Exactly.
Because if something hurts, it hurts. Bottom line, it hurts, Mm-hmm. But if you sit there and you dwell on it, it's going to continue to hurt and nothing's going to ever progress or get done about it. And that's what people don't understand. When we say boys don't cry, we don't mean a tear don't come out your eye because your mama died, you going to cry. Exactly. Your daddy died, you going to cry. Exactly. Your grandparents died, you going to cry. However, if you sit there and cry and just bawl out constantly over it, then that causes a state of depression, anxiety, and you never get over it.
And just to be grassroots about it, yes, it is feminine as all get out for a little boy to sit there and boo-hoo about get off your behind, dust yourself off, and get back to doing, persevere, push through, that kind of thing. So I that's how I feel about toxic masculinity. Now, I guess it does have some validity in other areas when you have abusive fathers. When you have toxic masculinity around, you've got fathers that go way overboard from teaching to just sheer. Every young man at some point in his life got to get a good behind kicking by dad. Every man, from boyhood to manhood, you done had to cross swords with your dad, or that man figure in your life and he had to snatch a knot in your behind to let you know, you're not who you think you are right now. You're not the lion of the den right now. You're just a little cub. Let me explain something to you. Every man has had that moment where you thought you was something or somebody, and another man had to go, hey, no, sit down and shut up.
But when you say getting his behind, though, we're not talking about abusing the child.
Yeah.
We're talking about taking him in the backyard, put on some boxing gloves, because at that point, he needs to learn how to knuckle up.
In a manner of that, yes. Yeah. Either that literally or some similar to that. But sometimes, yes, it gets toxic when, every time a young dude move or, he getting popped or slapped or kicked. We ain't talking about that. That is toxic because you're not teaching. It's just like a pledge process. A pledge process is supposed to teach and mold. It's supposed to knock off rough edges. It's not supposed to end up in the dang hospital every night or the morgue or
Disclaimer:
no.
all black, historically black Greek organizations are non-hazing organizations.
I didn't say nothing about it. I just said
I'm
pledge
just-
process.
I'm just
I didn't
saying.
say nothing else, did I?
I'm just saying.
You throwing that out
I'm
there.
just throwing out the disclaimer. Now,
But that's
now we know the truth. But
But that's what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be a teaching tool. It's supposed to be, a standard for, rise up to this standard. And but you get people who are, that don't understand and are too sympathetic, or you get people that's been weak all their life, and no.
And people not making okay though.
And hush up and let this young man
He's
get
so
what he needs to
sensitive.
get. Yeah, dang all
He's
that.
gay.
And then on the side of toxic femininity, I see that I liken it as like you see it all the time with single moms. And I understand you're a single mom and you have little boys, but those are little boys. Those are not little girls. So keep they little behinds out the pedicure chair with you. That's not cool.
No. Get a pedicure, baby. That pedicure though. And then when Lil Sue, she rubbing them with that little sea salt and that little lavender down your leg, and you get your little skin.
Oh my God.
I'm just
mamas, keep your little boys out the daggone manic pedicure chair.
What
That is
mama
not cool.
taking their son to the
I have
business?
seen
I
it
don't
and I know about it firsthand.
Wow.
Those are not when you single mom.
You mean like a little bitty boy?
Yes.
Oh no, you don't do that.
Oh my God.
Those are not little Barbie dolls.
You seen that for real?
Yes, I have. It is sickening. Or they let the little
He
boy.
ain't putting no polish on his toes though, right?
No, it's clear, but that doesn't make it any
Now,
better.
is it nail hardener?
It's polished.
It's polished.
I mean, when you get grown though, you gonna see you gonna let Lil Sue put her. You gonna let her rub them calves down with the.
But my thing is with single moms, little boys, those your little boys they're not little Barbie doll kids, little Ken dolls.
Yeah.
Stop dressing them up to look like little thugs. Like you see little boys running around with wife beaters on, and they got on a wrist full of jewelry, and they sag and they got J's on and a hat to the back. Yeah. How about sagging diapers, sagging? Yeah,
That means you got a little low back there, don't it? Your diaper sagging.
That is.
I mean, you need to change.
That little boy is not your Snoop Dogg gangster starter kid. Stop that. Dress that kid like a decent little young man,
But see,
and
even
stop
with
dressing them up like little girls and stuff.
I think that's the issue though. Snoop Dogg starter kid, because that's not how Snoop Dogg started.
Well,
Calvin Brodus didn't start like that. Calvin Brodus started in the classroom writing poems, things of that nature, getting his grades straight and playing football.
And he was negatively influenced by environment in the streets.
Right, and then he took that and matured it
flipped
to
it.
something totally different.
Yeah.
Now look at him now.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, is what people emulate is not what you think it really is.
Exactly.
Because people that you see that's portraying their life, they're not live that life, and they will tell you that. You got very few that live the Dame Dash. I mean, you got very few Dame Dashes and Jay-Z's that really live the life like that. I mean, very few. You got very few Tupacs and Notorious Biggs.
Nah, Snoop wasn't no what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, he was one of the true
in the
ones.
streets. He was in the streets, but he wasn't like that. He would tell you, he said, I had to do what I had to do to survive.
Okay. Well,
He said,
there we go.
I had to sea walk to survive.
But
I wasn't out there just shooting at dudes.
I got you.
So, I mean, and even then,
That's
Tupac,
okay.
like with Tupac wasn't just out there thugging. That dude was at a reservatory. He learned how to do ballet.
Yeah.
He was doing acting. These people were intelligent. These people were actually procuring their talents. But the image that people want to give is because of movies.
Yeah.
Movies put them in that type of role, that type of place.
They're making money.
Exactly. And they're not the ones making all that money. It's the ones, the
Somebody else
directors and
was.
producers.
Yeah.
I mean, John Singleton, he put some realness in life.
Dude,
When
he did.
boys in the hood and all kind of stuff, he put some realness to it.
That kind of put a light on what dudes is going through in the hood a little
Right.
bit.
Real light.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't just want to be like this.
Yeah.
We trying to eat.
Yeah,
Like,
we're trying to feed families, or we were given a choice or a pseudo choice, and we had to choose.
Right, and that's the
Either,
thing. We had to choose.
Yeah.
We had to choose. Do I want to eat, or do I and be out in the streets, or do I want to just sit here and starve?
Or do I want to be able to live in my neighborhood peacefully, or am I going to twist my fingers up and wear this color because this is what's in my neighborhood? And the homies is like, what you gonna do? If you want your ass
that's a
beat
real
every day.
dynamic. And if you on a divider line, you in trouble every day.
Yeah.
You got to find neutral colors.
Yeah.
Your grays. You can't really wear black because it may be outlined with something else.
Just be walking around in Burberry.
Nope, because you wouldn't make it home with it on.
You can't wear Burberry in the hood.
Man, no,
somebody
it's
going to steal it from you.
man, you gonna go home coatless and shoeless. Like I'm just being real. Like I mean just being real because if you got to think about it. Remember the big thing back then was, starter jackets. You had the starter jackets.
I remember.
Your starter hats. You go home. Don't wear no Raiders jacket. Don't wear no Kings jacket. I mean, don't wear no Reds jacket. Like
Man, let me tell you, back in the day when the Charlotte Hornets starter first came out, I got it for Christmas and everybody was loving it. And I wore my Charlotte Hornets starter and matching hat to Southwest Middle School. I think I was in the 7th grade. I think I was in the 7th or 8th grade. But anyway, my sister had to come pick up my starter jacket and take it home because I got threaded like 9 times between breakfast and lunch for my starter. And I called him. My principal got mad. He was pissed. He was like, well, if you have problems, you come let us know. And I want to tell him so bad, you have no idea about them. This is real. And then some idiot, I want to say his name, was he is just that much scum that he deserves it because he actually did some real messed up stuff later on in life that cost somebody their life. But he stole my Charlotte starter hat off my head at my locker. It was in my locker. I took it off the thing in my locker.
and
put it on my
he
head
came
for
to
a
the same
second.
school the next week.
Yeah, but see, I ain't got. Well, my sister had older friends.
No.
But if I knew,
I was going. No. See. That's the thing about life. I got. Cause first of all, like what size shoe you wear? My size. Oh, you gonna take it? Oh, well, I hope you're ready to die for these shoes today. Cause I'm gonna break your neck.
Well, see, back then I wasn't who you know right now. Back
Oh,
then,
I was
little,
and
I was little. I didn't really.
I was little too.
Fight. I didn't really know how to fight. I didn't grow up having to learn.
Oh, well,
how
I
to
mean, I
fight,
can
so
understand that. I grew up fighting every day.
I didn't have them
Right.
kind
It was
of
like a
instincts.
national pastime.
Now, of course, being the dude that I am now, if I was that dude back then, yeah, he probably been still encasing that wall at Southwest Middle School for putting his hands on my hat. But back then, I had them kind of instincts. Now, like I said, my sister had friends, and they was, 'cause my sister's 7 years older than me, so she had some friends, and they was pretty rough. But if I called them to come up there by that was gonna get ugly.
And I would care why.
But see,
You got the courage to steal it from me. You got the courage to deal with the
the
consequences.
way I felt about it is I got to go to school here every day.
Okay, I'm gonna go to school comfortable and just fine every day.
And even though this one situation would be epic.
Did he wear the hat and he stole it from me at school?
Damn sure did.
Oh no! See now,
then-
that's a matter of
What?
pride now.
That must be a South thing, cause
And then
That's a matter of
I'd
pride.
have broke his
now.
neck that next
well,
day.
see,
Facts.
like, once again, like I tell you,
Like he stole it from me and then wore it in your face.
That's disrespect.
You had to look. Wait, and you had to watch him wear your stuff.
Wow.
sure did.
Wow.
Because he was part of the rough crew back in Southwest back.
I caught every last one of them one by one.
He would have got snuck.
Like one by one.
Or something.
I got every last
Once
one of them.
again, I wasn't the person you know now back then when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, well, you had a whole lot of y'all have been to school for the handicapped. I would have catch one by one. Somebody come up with a broke ankle, broke leg.
And I told her about it, and she was like, "Well, you want me to call so-and-so? Because they'll get it back, and they'll, because they would have, he'd have got filed up pretty good. But I didn't want to have to go to school every day with somebody figuring out get back. Because I'm like, okay, you're gonna beat the hell out of him and all his crew today, but I still got 6 more months of 7th grade year left.
But that also
But
shows.
also, they still got to understand there's consequences. So if they come back at you, then they're going to have to deal with them dudes again.
So the thing about that is, when you don't do something about it,
Right.
then you end that person's life because that means they're gonna think they can get away with that mess. So at the end of the day, they're gonna try it with somebody
No,
else.
he thought he was one of the thugs. Like I said, he did some real stupid foul junk later in life that cost somebody their life.
And that's what I'm saying.
But,
Maybe if you'd have learned that lesson earlier, he may have thought differently about that. Because I mean, I got some people that was around me when I was growing up that I mean, I'm just being real. Life is strange.
Yeah, I know it.
And I mean, some of them are still locked up. they will never get. One of them got out after like 15 years and went right back in 2 months later.
But and some would say that goes back to toxic masculinity because you always got to get some get back or some revenge. Sometimes that's applicable. Sometimes you got to be more of a man to go, you know what? I'm gonna let this die right here. It's messed up. You wrong, but you know if I react or take action, then this thing will never go away. Because both of you all come from situations where somebody does something to you, you do something back, then somebody comes back, then you go back again, and it almost never stops. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, I mean,
it stops because
But
at some point,
but is there the potential for it to keep going?
What I'm saying
until
is
there's
this.
actually nobody left.
You do certain things where you make people understand there's consequences for your actions. So if you want to get back at me, that's cool. It's going to be a consequence. Are you willing to pay that price?
I'm gonna say it like this. Growing up, me and my son, we had some rivals. We fought literally every day. It became so much a clockwork that the bus driver would drop us off and sit there and wait for the fight to start because it was gonna happen every day. And I do mean every day. And these dudes they end up growing up to be like 6'9", 6'10". And but when I say fight every day, I was gonna catch them every day. I mean, so what ended up happening was we ended up growing up, getting older, and becoming friends. To the point where they ended up being managers and at restaurants, stuff like that. Be like, hey, you want a job? And let us know.
Yeah,
because it wasn't about, we're children.
Yeah.
And that, truth be told, that makes your life interesting. That fight every day, that gives you something to look forward to.
I don't know about all
that.
Bro.
But
Not the type of fights I was involved in.
But that's the thing, though. That's the thing, though. The issue, the real issue right.
We're not doing that, bro.
The real issue, though, is if I have to fight you for my life, then that's death.
Okay, well,
See, that's the thing. We're fighting because. And in the area, you wasn't fighting like that. You were shooting. So I'd rather keep it with the hands than with steel. True. So we did it to keep it with hands because people start pulling out steel more and more and more. And when you start pulling out steel, everybody starts to pull out steel. So what we did was we altered the narrative. Yeah, I remember with the type of environment I grew up in, we had to alter the narrative. Because if in your neighborhood a child is dying every 45 minutes, you want to keep as much steel out of people's hands as possible. So what do? You knuckle up. You go head up. You make that solve the issue. We even turned it into a little situation where people started making money from it.
Today's matchup, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
5th Street versus 19th Boulevard.
Like for real. But again,
Come on.
that stopped the shooting. It wasn't gonna stop the killing, but that's what people get the image in their mind. Like combat sports ain't nothing but people that decided they need to settle differences and issues in a squared circle or on some concrete. That's all it is.
I got a dude. I wouldn't mind getting in a name combat circle right about now.
I mean, that's the thing. And you got an issue with each other, you take care of it right there. That keeps everybody else out of it. That keeps the crews, that keeps the rivals, that keep all of it out of it, and let you you get knocked out, you come back the next day and try again.
You hear that, Mr. Charlotte? Let's do this. Square circle.
See, I understand that what you're saying is right, but you know the types of fights that I saw people would have. They didn't shoot necessarily, but they had bats.
But that's still a weapon.
They had chains.
That's wood. That's still wood and steel.
Nah, but when I saw somebody get hit in the forehead with a bat, and I will never forget
that'll scar you.
I was like, oh,
that'll
I told you not to go over there.
Or you being hit in the head with a steel chair. That'll alter your life too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. He was already not that smart. He really wasn't smart after that.
Well, I'm still kind of smart, but I got that scar up there from it.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna leave it at this. Back at that time, we had to offer things as much as we could to save lives. We were trying to save lives. We weren't. Yeah, you got little buddy, little man around the corner who may carry weight every day just so he could feed his family. But at the end of the day, you want it better for little man. Even though little man was older than you, you wanted better for him. Why? Because you wanted to make sure all y'all got about that situation. You knew it wasn't going to necessarily happen, but you had hopes and dreams of it.
I understand.
The OGs thought like that.
I understand, and it depends on how you grew up, where you grew up. Doing what you have to do takes on many different characteristics and dynamics, and in those kind of situations, when you're looking at male relationships, is it toxic for you to teach that kid toughness early on? Because in that kind of environment, like you said, you grew up, you gotta be tough. You gotta be cold. You gotta be heartless sometimes. You gotta be rough and tumble. So you can't grow up sitting around people letting you, cry about this and whine about that. So you learn quick. Quit all that. Get up. No, hey, stop all that. No. Versus,
There wasn't no stopper. There was, you better stop before I give you something to cry about.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
You like,
But I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I hated that. Oh man, you like a spanking that. He's going to convulsions.
like you go through Lamar's breathing.
Oh man, I
but
hated that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, cause my mama, I never forget. I was sitting in a chair, I was watching TV. She came around the corner, cold cocked me and blew my chest up. I'm like, what'd you hit me like that for? She said, I gotta toughen you up from the N-words in the street. And then I'll never forget, I got into a fight one day.
Okay, so you said to your mom when she hit you like that for?
Yeah.
That wasn't a part of my lips. I'm
Now
sorry.
I understand, but I ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care if I did it or not. You just put a
But
pause.
I was trying to understand. So now, mind you, I'll get into the fight with the dude. The dude punched me in my chest. I looked at my chest. I looked at him. I ain't want to fight you. My mama hit
Did it
hard
jiggle
than
when
you,
it
bro.
hit you?
And then, yeah, shut up. And then my cousin was sitting there. My cousin was like, "Hey man, she do hit harder than you." You know what I'm saying? So it can be done properly, right? But
see,
the problem is sometimes people, more often than not, they take it too far, and
But you know
boys are not taught how to properly
But you
deal
know the
with
issue
their
with that?
emotions.
You know the issue with that though? That she had to do it instead of some male figure doing it.
I'm not arguing with you
yeah,
on that.
And I like what you said about. Say what you just said again at the end
The
of that.
problem is boys are not properly taught
Exactly.
how to deal with their emotions, so they grow up
exactly.
and it turns into toxic masculinity because you know what? I don't know how to tell this young lady that I like her. So and so when I try to holler at her and I holler at her incorrectly and she don't want to give me her number, so now I'm gonna stomp her out in the middle of the street. No.
Or say something crazy to her that you don't need to say.
No, right. That's not what you do.
And I like that you brought that up because when you're trying to turn a little boy into a young man and then to a full-grown man, it's a process, and you have to get it in segments. You have to get it in pieces, in chunks. So you start off as a little boy, you make him tough. With my son, when he was little, we used to roughhouse. His grandmama couldn't stand it. His mama hated it. But I'm toughening him up. He would come at me. Bill Cosby even did it in one of his segments. The little boy runs at you. You knock him down. All right, stop all that crying. Get up. Come get. They laugh. Then they come get some more. They get up. They run at you again. Pow! You knock them down. Then they get up and they come get some more. And you toughening them up. You toughening them up. Then you tell them things like, the boys don't do all that crying. The boys don't do all that tatter-tatter. The boys don't do this. The boys don't do that. Then as they grow older, that teaching changes and it evolves and it suits the little boy at his age level. And then at some point, when you have to deal with certain situations, it turns into, it's all right to shed a tear, man.
So we're about to go to
you don't have
commercial,
hold all this side.
and hopefully we have some ladies go ahead and talk to us about this toxic femininity. Guys, we need to know what that is and what it
I
looks
got to
like.
finish that up too. But do we have an artist indie spotlight for today?
Let's see who we got for the chicken and brew session.
Who we got for the chicken and brew
Let's see who we got for the chicken and brew session.
I got to go get my chicken. Do we got some brew around here? We got.
We got plenty of brew.
That ain't brew. That's hardcore.
That's that knockout. That's that one-hit wonder.
I'm looking at military special vodka. That don't sound good. Seagram's gin. That definitely ain't beer, but it's good though. All right, we may or may not be back after break. we gonna see. But DJ and Eli, go ahead and tell us what you got for us, man.
All right, the Sankofa Paradox with Ed D and Low Key will return in a minute right after our Indie Spotlight. Today's Indie Spotlight features music from Ziggy, originally from the DMV area and currently based right here in the ATL. You can check out her music on all streaming platforms and check her out on Instagram at Ziggy Worldwide. That's Ziggy Worldwide. We'll be checking out two of her tracks, Passenger and Look Back at It, right after our official intermission song, I'm in the Box by Lyrical Preacher. Stay tuned.
Yo, LMR, ISO. This for all my people in the boxes. You know, those who scared to step outside the comfort zone. This one's for you. Let go. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. Swaggy, swaggy, swag. Swaggy. I'm a swagaholic. Swag. I got so much swag, I could make a swag profit. Gucci on my body, Gucci. Louis on my bag. Louis. You love this crappy music, so I gotta pop them tags. Cash out. Pork chop ballin', ballin'. Call it balls hog. Oink. I get so much money, call it women, female dogs. When I'm in the club, all the people lose control. I'm crazy. And that's because I sold the music industry my soul. They said to take my talent and put it in a box, so I'll never make enough money to afford a pair of socks. No clothes. So here I am flexing, cause I sacrificed my dignity and sealed away my vision just to make it in the industry. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. I sold my own mama for this fame. You I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. Okay, hold up. I really think I need to address this. Yep. It's funny what a person will do for a gold chain or a diamond necklace. Really? 70% of the time, it's not even about the money. They just want attention. And they're willing to sacrifice their integrity and originality for an honorable mention. Let me hit you with a question. Are you really that pressed for the fame? That you're willing to limit your talents and gifts to skate your way into the game? That's a one-hit wonder. 15 minutes, lost of your artistic focus. I mean, can you even imagine me dumbing down my rhyme just to get noticed? Pay attention. Turn up, turn up, turn up. Turn up. All I do is turn up. I turn up so much I might as well eat a bag of turnips. Hey, you wanna know what's sad? What? I bet you like that line. It made no sense at all, but I bet you got crunk off that line. Yeah, you can have that. I'ma stay right here with my gift and my talent. If you really wanna make moves, you gotta step out the box and achieve that balance. Go left field, stand out. Go against the grain to get free. Cause last time I checked, hopping on a bandwagon is not define who you wanna be. Nah, bro, fuck that. I'm too scared to be myself. I'ma stay in my box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. I'm in a box. And I don't wanna come out. If you're tired of fitting in, let me hear you say I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. If you'd rather be yourself, let me hear you say I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. If you don't wanna be something you're not, let me hear you say I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. And if you're ready to break the mold, let me hear you say I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out.
Just stay right there, don't go nowhere, I'll be right there. I know it hurts, I know you're scared and it ain't fair, but girl, don't worry about it. I I know your mind is clouded. Finna pull up on ya. I'll drive you, be my passenger. Ooh, girl, you could be my passenger. Girl, you could be my one and only passenger. One and only. Cause girl, you the one, the only one I need by my side, yeah. You've been through a lot, girl, I understand. Trust me when I say that breaking your heart's no part of my plan. I give you my truth, just give me your hand. Just follow my lead, I won't steer you wrong, trust me in advance. Shawty got me speeding, trying to get to her. Gotta say something to her, cause I know that nigga ain't treating you right. And I can give you everything he done. So girl, let's take a ride, just to clear your mind. Hate to see you cry. And girl, I need you right here, I won't go nowhere. Just stay right there, don't go nowhere, I'll be right there. I know it hurts, I know you're scared, and it ain't fair, but girl, don't worry about it. I know your mind is clouded. Finna pull up on ya. I'll drive you, be my passenger. Ooh, girl, you could be my passenger. Girl, you could be my one and only passenger. One and only. Cause girl, you the one, the only one I need by my side, yeah. I can see the pain in your eyes, makeup stains from your cries. You keep it way down inside, and your nigga, he don't know, he got way too much pride. Girl, I'm just being patient, I know your heart's been broken, let me be your operation. And only time will tell when I have no problems waiting. I'm ready when you are, girl, just text me your location. So girl, let's take a ride, just to clear your mind. Hate to see you cry. And girl, I need you right here, I won't go nowhere. Just stay right there, don't go nowhere, I'll be right there. I know it hurts, I know you're scared, and it ain't fair, but girl, don't worry about it. I know your mind is clouded. Finna pull up on ya. I'll drive you, be my passenger. Ooh, girl, you could be my passenger. Girl, you could be my one and only passenger. One and only. Cause girl, you the one, the only one I need by my side, yeah. Passenger, passenger, passenger. Cause girl, you the one, the only one I need by my side, yeah.
Welcome back to the ATL Underground, my people. We now have some guests that we're going to bring live onto the air with us, and they're going to talk to us about some toxic femininity. This is a question that we have, and of course, us being men, we can't really talk much on toxic femininity based on our perspective, because ours is going to be from a place of anger and hurt. So we need young women to talk about this particular subject. We have who on the line now? Oh, we'll wait till the caller get back. So while we waiting on the call to get back, Dr. Funkenstein, go ahead, let us know what you got.
But even if you think about it, if you even think about it in that way, you're out of order. God charged us to be the head of the household. But how can you lead as the head of the household if you have no relationship with God? You might say you do, but if your wife can't see your walk with God, can't see your talk with God, can't see your actions, see your walk with God in actions, then why should she submit to you, you know, and follow your lead? So toxic masculinity can also be brought into the context of marriage by saying a woman should be walking behind me and all this other kind of stuff. I'm the head of the household, yada, yada, yada. In order for you to be a head of the household for real, you have to have a relationship with God. You have to walk and talk with God. And your wife needs to see you walking and talking with God. She needs to see your action, see God in your actions so she can trust that when you lead her, you're going to lead her in his will. And if you're not right with God, why should she submit to you?
Whatever God that may be, though.
Yeah. Whatever God that may, that's fine. And so that's another thing when it comes to toxic masculinity. You know, some of them think, oh, I got to put a woman in her place, or, you know, women overstep their boundaries. But you know what? If you're not man enough to be a real man, a man of God is a real man. And I don't care. We can argue about that all day. I said it and I'll say it again. If you're not man enough to be a man of God, to be a real man, then you have no rights. You have no claim to want a woman to submit to you, because she's not gonna follow you to hell. Well, I would hope not.
All right, so we have some callers. So we're gonna go ahead and get to our first caller on toxic femininity. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, I am, because I was on mute. What is the question?
We wanted to give, from women's perspective, the actual definition and the impact of toxic femininity.
Your thoughts on what it is on toxic femininity, what that can be.
Ooh, that's a lot. Um,
Well, go ahead, just give us a little bit of your lot.
There can be, I think mostly everything stems from, there's a feedback, I'm sorry. Stems from a mental aspect, primarily. Starting from there, it usually starts, and I'm going to just kind of give an example. I'm going to put myself in the mix. I always tell people you can't talk unless you can turn the mirror on yourself. Being raised in a family where you have a lot of what they define as strong, independent women, I guess that's the term that's used now. Most family, when you deal with a lot of women now, they come from a family who come from generational hurt. It could be sexual abuse, physical abuse, whatever it is, right? And so a lot of the things that women pass down is, you know, men aren't crap, because I'm not going to cuss on the radio. Don't trust men. Men are only going to do this to you. Men are only going to do this to you. A lot of the women in my family are very successful, extremely successful. But then I start to notice as they are in their 50s and 60s, they're single. They have that same mentality that they taught me growing up, to expect a certain thing out of men. But what we don't realize is, as women, we teach those men, whether it's subconscious or consciously. I had a conversation with my cousin, my male cousin, about how a lot of the men in the family, because they hear that this women aren't, men aren't anything, don't trust men. That's passed down to them. And in effect, instead of them finding stable relationships, they go through a lot of women. I think as women, we don't realize when we need to break a generational curse. We go through, I think, feminism, and someone said it best. Feminism was, in retrospect, into some aspect, the worst thing that could have happened to women.
You said, say that again. You said, what was the worst thing to happen to women?
Say again?
You said, what was the worst thing that could have happened to women was breaking what?
Feminism.
Explain that. Explain that.
The feminism movement. Because instead of teaching women how to balance and properly deal with healthy relationships and define themselves what it is a healthy relationship, society defined and told women that they don't need men in any aspect.
Okay. Sounds like a class of spelling.
Any aspect at all. Yes, that we can break glass ceilings. Yes, that we are equal as men, but in physical aspects, as a woman who served in the military, who served, yes, we can do a lot of things better than some of our male counterparts. But at the end of the day, we're still women.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that are inherently genetic you can't get rid of.
Yeah, I got you. I'm following you on that one.
Me working in a male-dominated field, I'm still what they call emotional because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
So I think toxicity, as far as femininity, that portion of toxicity just stems from the way that we were brought up. And unless you learn early on into breaking generational curse, because I had to learn, as I graduated from high school, I didn't have a high school sweetheart. I had guys that I saw, but my focus was not a relationship. First of all, I didn't know how to be in one. I didn't know how to be in a healthy one. So first we have to recognize what we don't know.
Let me ask you this.
And then turn around and have the courage to say, let me, whether it's through, for me, it was through psychology and talking to psychiatrists and finding out and defining what a healthy relationship was so I can restart to and begin to reverse generational destruction of the Black family within myself.
Quick question for you. You said earlier that a lot of the female relatives that were older than you, they kind of, I guess their toxicity was to you were the things they used to say to you about, you can't trust men, men ain't this, men ain't that, dudes will always let you down. Did that affect how did that affect relationships you'd get into, I guess, like, senior year high school, and early adulthood?
I'm going to tell you how it affected me.
Huh?
I didn't have a relationship.
So you never had a relationship?
I felt like I needed to treat men like they treated women.
Okay, explain that. Definitely explain that. Yeah, let's dive into that. You said you treated men like you treated men like men treated women. Yeah, definitely explain that.
When I say that, it's what I was taught that how men treated women. So let me rephrase that. Being taught that men are nothing, all they want is booty. They're going to try to control you. They're going to try to control every aspect of your life. I was taught to rebel against that in retrospect. So as a female growing up, then I said, well, I'm not going to hang with too many females. I'm going to hang with men or males. Because now I need to learn how they operate. So that way I can treat them the same way and not get hurt.
I got
so through high school, I really was like, my mental aspect in regards to relationships, I aligned myself with men, at least out of what I thought men were. That men weren't emotional. Uh, Men were going to do this to you. So I just kind of aligned myself that way. So it was like a mental preparation for myself. So if I was to get hurt, or I could stop myself from A, getting hurt, or B, becoming a statistic per se.
I get that.
And I think a lot of women do that because that's what we were taught. But we didn't understand that what the women were teaching us, all they were doing was passing down generational hurt and generational trauma.
Okay, so the relationship. So that did that hamper you from having a successful relationship in your early adult life, or what? How did that affect you? Because you
Say
were
again,
treated. You were.
the
You
reception is bad.
say again.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you were saying you grew up treating men like men treat women per what you were taught by older female relatives. Do you think that kept you from having successful relationships early in life, or did that affect a marriage, or how did that affect going
Oh,
out?
definitely. Well, I never saw myself married.
So you've never been married?
I figured I would probably have kids, but that I would not marry. I would not settle down.
Oh wow, that's deep.
That I would enjoy, men how I see felt, but that I would deal with them on my terms. It wasn't until during college, and I got deployed to Iraq. And this is what I tell people, that often the Lord puts you in a place where you don't have anybody but yourself. And you have to do a lot of self-reflection. So for me, living second by second, instead of day by day, or I was living second by second. And I'm seeing the people around me develop relationships in the unit. And then I feel like an outcast because I'm like, she's allowing him to do that? Oh, she must be a punk.
Gotcha.
The Lord actually allowed me to not only be by myself, but surround me with people where I had to actually look at myself and think about all of the years and the things that I've been taught. Because as a woman, I felt myself yearning for a male relationship and that male touch. But how do I go about doing that in a healthy way when I've been taught this? And it took 10 years of therapy and a lot of self-reflection and meditation and yoga to really understand who I was as a woman, as a person, and undo a lot of that. And even now, I have constant conflict with my own mother because my mother still has that mentality that, women aren't supposed to show emotion. You're never supposed to show that you're weak. So when I went through a divorce, my mother was like, how did you let this man break you down? How did you let this man do this? So my test came in the form of talking to other women in the family. And teaching those women that what they taught us were not healthy relationships. And that was the exact reason why they were alone to this day.
I hear that. Well, we definitely appreciate you calling in and sharing with us. Definitely keep listening to the show. I think we got one other caller coming in behind you. Thank you very much, caller, and continue to listen in and support us. We appreciate you sharing with us today. You have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. And we got one more on there. Okay. We'll have to wait while we wait on this caller to come back through. I also in I don't know if envision is the right word, but I see toxic femininity when I see same sex female couples and raising kids. Now, let me preface all of this. I'm not saying that a lesbian couple cannot be good parents, but when you have kids in their relationship, it's not your job to produce little lesbians, or it's not your task to produce overly feminine little boys.
I think
In that situation, because I've seen, and I only speak from things that I see and know to be true. I've seen lesbian couples and they have boys, whether boys are black or white, and they dress a little boy. Like, once again, that's where the little Barbie doll thing comes into. They're dressing little boys up like little Barbie dolls. They got on capris and Crocs walking around. That's a little boy. And you need to dress him as a little boy. If he grows up at some point at 16 or 17 or at 14 and decides he's gay, fine, no problem with that. But why are you fostering that? Get him some shoulder pads, get him a baseball bat, get him, like I talked to a female in a lesbian marriage, and they do this gender neutral toy thing where the child can play with whatever. So if he wants to play with Barbie dolls, he'll play with Barbie dolls, or he'll choose. I'm like, no. That's and I had to we intelligently disagreed. I was like, that's a little boy. He needs to be raised as a little boy. All this blurring of the gender line stuff from the nature nurture aspect of it, that is not useful to society.
But you know what? Maybe that is actually a part of toxic femininity.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Because,
it is.
Because at the end of the day, the issue is, why are you trying to turn a little boy into a little girl?
Exactly, and that's my problem.
And there's do not place, and that's the thing. You actually acclimate yourself to what it is you see and that you're around. But issue I have with that is allow him to make that choice himself.
Exactly.
Don't push that choice.
Don't
a lot of
push
times
it.
they say, "Oh, look, you don't have a mommy and daddy. You got two mommies or two bald head daddies. I don't really know what And that's the thing with that is explain to that child, this does not have to be you.
Yeah.
This is what I choose.
Exactly.
So, and do understand and let them see the bad parts of it as well as the good parts, whatever that is. And I don't think that happens. I think they curtail it to make so they can say, "Oh, this is so wonderful, so great." But you don't show him that when he get to school thinking like that, he gonna get the brakes beat off him from a little boy who don't necessarily agree with that. His family don't.
All the time.
Right, and that's how children start to commit suicide. So I think it's the thing with that, like the caller said, the lack of not needing a man. At the end of the day, be independent, but know that you're not built to be alone.
Exactly.
We have a caller. We're going to go ahead and go to our next caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hi.
Hello.
I wanted to comment two things because my son was speaking and he making me look like I was a child abuser.
Dr. Funkenstein, you in trouble?
Wow.
How you get called and get a beating on the show? Go ahead, mama. We listening.
But y'all can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because you know, we have that stereotype when it comes to raising up boys into men that they got to be tough, but they also got to be affectionate too to their woman. Mm-hmm. So you got to work with that male to teach them. The communication is the key to everything. Mm-hmm. Communication. Mm-hmm. And when you got generations of women teaching future women and of girls to think that all men's a dog and all men's are this and all men are that, or you got to be submissive to the man. It's the wrong thing. And we got to learn that we are together. When God put the two together, you merge as one. So you're not better or lesser. You are one. You merge together. And that's what we have to work on and talk about, that act of communicating. And it's sad to say because I heard the young lady talked about feminism and whatnot. And when feminism came out, a lot of people did think, well, hey, I don't need a man. That's not true. We need a man. We need a woman. You need each other. That's why we were paired together. But if I wanted to do construction work, there's nothing wrong with me doing construction work, and I still have my man. In my field, I did what I had to do. My husband didn't interfere with my work or whatnot, and he had his job, and he did what he had to do. And at the end of the day, we merged together, and we became one and stuff. And if somebody messed with me, I would go get him. I'll go get my brother. I had people that would defend me. And if a female was to mess with him, he'd call me, and I'll take care of that. So, you balance each other out. And that toxicity is no good. But you look at America that is built on toxicity, and it comes in and it spills over with us, and we don't even realize it.
Wow. That's powerful right there.
It's hard for me to hear y'all.
Can you hear us?
Okay, I hear you now.
Okay. I was just saying that's very powerful right there because I think people don't take certain things into account, especially with the raising and rearing of children, boy or girl. There are certain elements and things that are needed there that a lot of times are missing, and those missing elements are what is truly what causes the toxicity, in either gender. So we like to thank you for those comments because those are powerful things and things to think about. And Dr. Funkenstein, you care to respond?
Hey, I'm saying, I didn't tell no lies though. She showing up got a nice left hook. You know what I'm saying? My uncle was a boxer. That's all I'm gonna say.
Gotcha.
Dang, he didn't pass no skills to you?
Oh, my hand skills are sweet now. Don't get it twisted.
He said, I got hands. Oh, no,
that's where I learned my skills
mitts.
from.
He said, I got mitts. I got my Bernies.
Mm-hmm. That's where I learned my skills from my uncle.
But thank you very much, Mama Dr. Funkenstein. We appreciate you calling what? and your wise words, and because those are very important things that people need to hear, and especially people out here right about now who are struggling with certain aspects of life. Mm-hmm. So we thank you. We appreciate.
Oh wait, I wanted to say one thing.
Go ahead. We got you.
To the young man who talked about when the guy took your coat. I understand where you was coming from, and y'all, you made fun of him, but in all reality, he was being mature and thinking ahead. Dr. Funkenstein had a similar situation in which he had a bully. And, I got tired of it, and I went and talked to the mother, but the mother was a bully. So what was this child going to do when the mother's a bully? The child ain't going to listen. So I told him, I said, yo, you better beat this boy behind, or I'm going to beat you, because I'm tired of this.
Facts.
And that was
facts. She just said that she didn't abuse you.
Himself respected me and my son after that. So, you got to know how to handle the situation.
Yeah, that's correct.
I remember that moment. It was like I got superpowers during that moment,
Anytime your mama threatened to beat you if you don't want to fight, that's going to always be superpowers.
You get superpowers in that moment.
You get go gadget, baby. Right. Go gadget.
Yeah, you definitely going to get juiced up if you getting threatened like that.
Right.
Well, we appreciate you calling. Thanks for calling in. Is there another caller coming up behind that one?
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate you. Please stay tuned. Listen, we always appreciate you all supporting your wise counsel. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think also, we got to play the COVID card for the moment. But if you look at the news, you'll see there's a lot of stuff coming out in families and at home because they're at home every day, all day. And things are starting to come out in these relationships because you imagine being married to somebody for 4, 5, 6, 10 years, and now COVID has come up, and you got to be around them every day. Then it's like, I can't stand you.
I didn't realize how much I didn't like you until now.
Exactly. We got another caller coming up. Caller, go ahead. You on the Sankofa paradox? What do you think? What do you think?
Hey, I have an echo. How is one when toxic femininity? I agree with the previous two callers. Another area I think that toxic femininity exists is in trying to distinguish between independence and interdependence, and not just in our personal relationship, man and woman relationships, but in the sense of this idea that a woman has to be superwoman. So she becomes so independent where she neglects herself. You know, she's everything for everyone, right? And she's unable to accept help, or you know, she's unable to advocate for herself, you know, as a result of trying to be this extra human, you know, this superhuman for everyone else. So I think in a way, um, toxic femininity can show itself that way. And I think maybe if that's the root of the problem, where she is unable to advocate for herself, then it can spill over into other things where it shows up in how she chooses her mate, for example, or how she chooses to show up at her job, and may not, you know, advocate for herself for a better paying position or something to that effect. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I
it
feel
actually
like
does.
So you saying from time to times that females get caught up in trying to wear too many hats in a relationship, or just even sometimes professionally, and they you said they neglect themselves, and that
right.
yeah, it has some kind of toxicity to it. I can see
And
that.
then
Yes.
they controls they can have they want so much to control their personal, but they don't necessarily control the other dynamic with the business or professional. So they don't pursue what it is that they really want because they're too busy occupied with the dynamics of what they're trying to control in life.
Yeah, there's that. Um there's that. I agree with that. But where I was going with that is even in the areas that she's not able to control. So sometimes you have this adage, or you know, this description of the strong black woman, right? And she's the boss lady, and she does this and she does that and everything. But this is also a woman that, as strong as she is, she's unable to say no. That's toxic. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because she's unable to say no, she puts herself in situations that's not becoming of her, that's not going to serve her, you know, or going to help her to pursue what her purpose is.
Now,
So in a sense, that is toxic femininity as well. So if she's toxic to herself, right, then she becomes toxic to the people around her.
well, let me ask you this: have you had some feminine toxicity that have affected your life directly?
Sure.
Tell us about that.
um an example of that is for where I'm toxic with my own self. For me, I want to fix everything and I want to be everything for everyone. And to have somebody to help me, it's hard,
So
you
you,
know?
oh, so your toxic femininity comes from not being able to accept a helping hand.
Right. And if I'm not careful, it can then become toxic in my other relationships. You know, if I'm with a man and he's caring and he wants to help me, he has all the best intentions. If I'm always going to tell him no and push him away, what does that do for my relationship? And in essence, if I if I'm the reason I sabotage that relationship, what does that do for me? You see what I'm saying?
I
Or,
understand.
you know, just in other aspects of my life, you know, where if I'm not careful, and I get, you know, counseled on this all the time, that you don't accept help, then you risk burnout.
Yeah, you definitely trying to be in a relationship and burning out, whether your significant other's burning you out or you burning yourself out. Yeah, I can see how that could be pretty stressful situation on a relationship. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And I getting tongue tied over here. We we appreciate you calling in, caller. Continue to listen. We appreciate your support, and we look forward to talking to you again on another show. Appreciate you today.
Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
appreciate it. I think that was a very good point. Being able to willing to accept help, when you know that you're deficient in an area and you're willing to accept help, and I think the dynamic of that is you sit there and struggle with something, you get frustrated and get anxiety because you're not willing to say, "Hey, I can't do this," because you don't want to seem weak.
Been there, done
And,
that.
and I think that's more the issue, not wanting to seem weak. Does it seem more weak to fail, or does it seem more weak to ask for help so that you don't fail? And I think that is the principal dynamic that people are having an issue with nowadays. They're afraid of looking inferior to someone else. And I'm like, all day, every day, I'm like, I'm going to ask for help. If I don't know something, I'm going to ask. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I know people like to say that I know pretty much more, a lot of everything. But I know for a fact that if I don't know something, I'm willing to ask. Or if I can't do something, I'm going to get help with it.
Yeah, I'm one of
Or
them
I might
dudes.
have you do it for me. It depends on the situation.
I'm one of them dudes. I don't mind pulling over at a gas station like, hey, do you know where such is? Thank you. Even though we got GPS now, sometimes you got to be man enough or just adult enough to go, hey, can you help me with this thing? Sometimes things just get to be too big. You've taken on more than you can handle. So you got to let somebody, if somebody going to get in there with you in them trenches and help you out, yeah, you need to go ahead and let them have it. We got another one? Another caller? No callers? Okay. We definitely appreciate everybody that called in today. Appreciate you guys listening to us and supporting us, talking about this feminine toxicity versus male toxicity thing. It's been a topic that's come up frequently. A lot of times society, everybody wants to say especially in child rearing, everybody wants to say what's the best thing for a kid. My only comment to that is if it was done to you and you turned out okay, then it can't be that bad to try with the next kid. Even when it comes down to disciplining a child, my parents spanked us all the time. I'm not gonna do that to my kids. Yeah,
but you a successful doctor with your own house, your own practice.
Them spankings kept you out of a lot of stupid situations that you watched other people get into. From I think that the best, what's the word I'm looking for? The best. Where's my thesaurus person in the studio? the best.
Practice, dynamic?
Nah. The best validation of good child rearing is when your child can look at all the times, as they're adult, when they sat on the sidelines and watch other folks' kids do dumb junk. And the statement is, I can't do that. That's when you know you've done a daggone good job. Because, I'd rather my son sit back and just watch the fools than to be one of the fools. If you can grab one of the fools and keep them from doing something stupid, go ahead. But if you can't, you just stand there and remember what I told you, and you don't do the dumb junk. And you stay out of harm's way. I think one of the greatest testaments, because like I say, I tell you the minute, I had one of them kind of fathers, where he calls your name, by the time he got through saying your name, you better be in his eyesight or it's going to be a problem. I'm not ashamed to tell you that at all. But I don't complain too much about it because, growing up in high school and in college, I actually watch people do stuff, and I'm just like, I can't do that. My dad would kill me, especially in high school. Like, hey man, we finna go over here and like, no. You don't understand who live in my house. I can't call home telling my dad he got to come get me out of that. No. Can't do that. Sorry. Y'all have fun. Let me know how it is at lunch if I see you tomorrow. So toxic femininity, male femininity. Wow, toxic femininity, toxic masculinity.
It's a subject for another day, sir.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, it could go a lot of different ways. I just, like I said, when it's not abuse, it's all for a good cause. I think, and I don't think there are too many mistakes you can make, especially when it comes to child rearing, as long as it's not abuse. But keeping that tradition with the chicken and brew show for the day, we kind of doing a melting pot of topics and ideas. So, Doc, you got something else you want to throw in the pot today?
I guess my closing thought would be like us being careful.
Oh, we ain't closing.
Yeah, we closing.
Are we closing?
Yeah.
That's it?
We got to get a chicken and brew time, brother.
We got
It's chicken and brew time.
Yeah.
We over an hour and a half in, brother. It's chicken and brew time.
Let's go to the chicken and the brew.
So, I guess my closing thought would be us being mindful, because toxic masculinity can seep into the natural order of gender roles, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. You know, there's a lot of males, and I say that specifically because I feel like they're not mature men. It's a lot of males who want a woman to allow him to lead and stand behind him and this, that, and the third, but he don't got his stuff together. And people say you don't got your stuff together, and they look at it like he don't have this kind of job, and that has nothing to do with it. It's really, are you walking with God? Can your woman see your walk with Christ coming out of your mouth, in your daily actions, and in the way you think? If she can't see that, then she's not going to follow you. So my caution is making sure that we as a people don't just say a thing. If we want certain type of respect, then we must earn that respect by following in God's will.
Well, my final thought on the topic is on any side of it, whether it's toxic male or toxic female. You know, we do things that we do out of love. We do things out of, you know, what we know. Because my whole viewpoint on this from a child rearing platform. So you do what you know to do is good for that child. You know, let's not abuse. Let's make sure we're coming from a point of love with what we do, and we're not forcing, and you know, we're not, you know, like I say, abusing or forcing, and just let everything else be natural to take its course.
All right, I'm gonna say this. We learned two sides of a coin today, from a male and female perspective. We've also learned that the principal dynamic of what's happening is the sense of feeling inferior to something else. And that feeling of inferiority causes us to show overcompensation for the things or the person that we want to be. So instead of overcompensating, how about we just learn and learn how to ask for help? Learn how to merge yourself with the one consciousness of life that tells you I can always be better and improve if I seek those to help me that can. Never feel like you're something less than because you don't know how to do something, or that because you can't figure something out. That's what fellowship is for. That's why the family, friends, relationships you have, that's what those are for you to reach out and somebody can grab your hand and help pull you up where you're sinking because you need some help with something. So don't let your inferiority complex cause you to be a toxic man or a toxic woman, and be the change that you want to see. With that being the case, thank you, ATL. Thank you, callers. Thank you, world. We love you all. Thank you all for sharing in with us your feelings and your thoughts, especially on this chicken and brew edition. We want to thank you all for supporting us. We want to thank you all for the love. We want to thank you all for the constant dynamics of just being there and supporting us. We appreciate you all. We love you all. ATL, world. Hey, we out.
Pass the wings.
KK.
Side.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Sankofa Paradox with Ed D and Low Key on ATL Underground Radio. We are live every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a playback of today's episode available Monday at 7 o'clock p.m. So be sure to tell a friend and check us out at MajorSmartENTLLC.com. You can also download the free app on Google Play and the Apple Store by typing in ATL Underground in the search bar. Got a topic you'd like to hear us touch on? Shoot us an email at majorsmartent@gmail.com with your suggestions. Catch you on the flip side, and we'll see you Sunday.